wanted just to welcome Marian Yon Maguire and Rhonda Sanderford of Yes Homes. Woohoo! Woo! So I'm so thankful that you guys are here with us for our Monday Agent Spotlight, and just wanted, if you don't mind, like introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your background in real estate.
Okay, I'll go first. Marian Yon Maguire. I am from St. Petersburg. Grew up in the real estate business with my parents who had Yon Realty. Went off to college, got a degree in fashion merchandising. Yes, that's what they called it back then. And it was from the School of Home Economics. So then from there I went into, my dad always said he was more concerned with me getting my real estate license when I was 18, 19, and 20 than he was with me getting a teacher's certificate. He always said, no matter what, keep this active and you will never know when you need it again. And I did after my divorce of many years. So.
That's funny that he, teaching certificate. I remember I had a professor in college that told me my senior year that I should get my teaching certificate because when I got married, if my husband needed to travel, I could get a job anywhere he went. Yeah. And I decided at that moment that was exactly why I would not get a teaching certificate. All right, Rhonda, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Marian and I are very similar. I've been selling real estate since 1985. I graduated from the University of North Alabama and moved to Fort Walton Beach, Florida, in retail.
What was your degree?
My degree was just like Marian's. We were in fashion merchandising in the home ec department. So if you've got a stain, I know how to get out any kind of stain. It's like what I came away from college with. And so I worked for a company called Gapers. A lot of us are familiar with that company, and decided to get married. And they had that rule where two people from the same family couldn't work in the company. So I had to find a new career. And so I went to work in real estate because I could do that anywhere. And we've moved 9 times. I love working with buyers because I can totally relate to the move process and what all it involves, and the kids and making friends and all of that. And so then we moved here, and I decided to go back full time, and I met Marian at the office the first day. Mm-hmm. And we are so similar with our backgrounds, and she had a really cute outfit on.
So did Rhonda.
And so we thought, I can relate to her. And so we just started talking and said, hey, I don't really want to work that hard. And she didn't really want to work that hard. And I said, let's just get together and form a little team. And that's been back when there wasn't a lot of teams. There were only a handful. And so we decided right off the bat we would jump in. Neither one of us had a lot going on in the real estate business. So we kind of both started from scratch, which makes it very easy because then there's no tit for tat.
There's no for tit. So for 17 years, the amazing thing is we are still talking. And we still have fun. I think the beauty of Rhonda and I is that when we disagree, we're pretty good at selling the other person on our position. And we say, we'll just sleep on it. We're going to table it because we just can't come to an agreement. The next morning, we wake up and we're both on the other person's page.
Yes, we've done such a good job of selling. The other one, we flip sides. And so then we rehash it again. But we don't make quick decisions with the company. And we really see Yes Homes as a business. Yes Homes stands for our name, Yon Allison Sanderford. That was before she got remarried. But it is our names, and a lot of people don't know that. And so just from the very beginning, we have a CPA, we have an attorney, we have our own advertising graphic person. We've always thought about it as a business, not just doing it.
And that, a lot of it comes from Rachel, goes back to we were with Keller Williams probably like 15, 16 years ago, and touching and seeing that teams can be made, and hearing that whole verbiage, it is your business, and run it like a business. So
well, it was that book, The Millionaire Agent. When we started with KW, that book was just coming out. I literally took that book and it became our manual. I mean, I would read that book and go back to Marian and it says, okay, the book says now we should do this. We get to hire an admin. We were so excited, that first admin. So we could call the office like business people and say,
can you get this ready?
can you do this first? But it was really cool. And then as the market it went rushing forward, 4, 5, 6, and then of course 7. We were just doing everything we could to keep up with it. Marian and I, we work. Literally, ladies, gentlemen, let me tell you, there is no 9 to 5 in mine and Marian's business. We work all the time. Pretty much, I take calls and texts up until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock
Yes, you
at
do.
night.
You're such a good person.
But then she starts over in the morning. I have to tell you, these early morning meetings is probably the earliest I've worked in a
And
while.
Rachel and Michael, thank you. I'm going to say thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're not watching them, if anyone's tagging into this, please tap into what they're giving you every morning. They're feeding you. You know, you go to church to be fed. You go to the grocery store to feed yourself. This is feeding your mind to get your mindset ready to face the world.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I love those meetings. I wake up every morning, and that's okay, I'm scooting over the wrong way. The first thing I do is grab a cup of coffee and start. I text the team. I say, join me to watch.
She does.
I'm their wake up call, and then I get my iPad out and then my phone so I can do both at the same time. But I love your meetings, Rachel. Thank you.
And Michael.
Thank you, ladies. I love having you on there. I always get a big smile on my face when I see your name pop up. But, hey, I want to just go back to something that you said, and I don't even know if you realized you said it. Maybe you did. You said when you two met the first day in the office, that you both were thinking that you didn't want to work that hard. You weren't going to do it full time, and
that
so
is
you
correct.
decided to
100% right.
But I wanted to come back to that because, you know, if you say that and somebody who doesn't know you's watching this, they might be confused because that's the exact opposite of what the two of you do.
I know. Trust me, I know.
No, I think it's because
It's strong work ethics. We came
that-
out of retail.
we came out of retail. If you're coming out of retail, you're working about every day of the year. You get Christmas Day off, you get Thanksgiving Day off, you get Easter Day off. So I think the work ethic, and we really don't, we're both Virgos, so we don't want to disappoint the other. All 3 of us are Virgos. Michael, I don't know what you are, but it's a very strong work ethics, I would say, any Virgo.
Well, you know, there's another aspect to that. I think it's a competitive nature as well. And I'm not saying competitive against somebody else. It's a competitive nature within ourselves of always pushing ourselves to do better.
Very true.
And that's why, you know, you said that. And again, I wanted to pull us back to it because the idea of the two of you saying, yeah, I'm just going to take it easy is like, it doesn't exist because you're constantly pushing yourself. And I think that's too what makes you such a good partnership is because you fuel one another that way.
Oh, I would never let her down. But really, I still remember exactly what we said. We just got to play in the business and go look at pretty houses and go to lunch and dress up because that's what we like to do. And it's just, you know, it's also making yourself accessible to the public. You've got to be out there and about where people see you and you talk the talk and they want to talk to you to talk the talk.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when I met you at the first time, it was at 2501 West Bay Isle Drive.
I remember.
Tropical Shores, it was a listing I had and the two of you showed up.
I think you were at Prudential.
Yeah.
And we were trying to recruit you to KW.
yeah, because you came to Smith after I did. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot. So that's so funny. I forgot that part, but I do remember both of you wearing red dresses. Now that was part of your business plan in the beginning. Tell us about that.
Oh, from day one. From day one, we
because of Keller Williams.
Because of Keller Williams, it was the Keller Williams, and we were working with an advertising company that was really strong into branding, and he would talk to us all the time about how consistent our branding had to be, all the way down to we wore red dresses, red fingernail polish. Everything we did was, listen, I have so much red in my closet. If I ever do retire, I probably won't ever wear red again. But we
still do wear. I'm wearing red shoes right now, so I won't show them to you. And I have red in my outfit. Last year we kind of picked up the color pink because it's so pretty.
It's a variation of red.
It's a variation of red. Just
Yeah,
a little watered
I
down.
got to talk to you offline about an idea Abby and I have.
Okay.
You're like so in tune with what we're doing. All right, so you guys, your business plan, your lead generation model in the beginning was dressing up in your red dresses and having lunch every day out in the community, right?
Handing out cards,
Handing out cards.
telling people we're in business.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not all we do. I mean, as far as lead generation, we like to think of ourselves as concierge realtors. You know, we don't use lock boxes. We do all of our own showings on all of our listings. We really touch the people and we go over and beyond on, as far as service goes. And I wanted to read you a text that I
Look at Rhonda's phone, it's red.
with our card. In case one of us loses our phone, which we are
I
known
do
to, we are
all
known to
the
do
time.
that. So we were talking, you asked us the question, what are we doing during the virus here that has kept our business going or makes us relevant in the time? And that all comes back to our concierge touch, I think, because we do go over and beyond on, I will go help you pick out tile, I will go pick up the dog, or, you know, turn the air condition down.
Can I go to the grocery store for you during
Yeah.
this time?
Marian,
Those are great customer service things once you have the business, but what did you do to find the business?
Oh, to find the business, I think it really
Answer
goes
the
back
phone.
to answer the phone. Oh, okay. This is one thing I do believe in. If you see your phone ring, you know, your family's going to get a little ticked at you. But if it's doing, I told my kids, if the sun is shining, I'm going to answer my phone. And they knew that because mom works now, and that was a big adjustment for them. And I would answer the phone. You can get off pretty quick, but you know, during this time period, Rachel, I've been taking all my GRI classes online at home. So I've learned everything Rhonda and I've been doing. I see things she does. I'm like, oh my God, she's doing it just by the book. And it's answering, their number one thing is being accessible. And when your phone rings, answer it. If you can't talk to them right then, text them and say, I'll call you right back. Let people know you did receive.
we've had more customers tell us the reason that they're working with us is because we answer the phone. We've had more customers call us on a property and go, I can't believe you answered the phone. You're like the 5th realtor we've called and nobody's answered the phone.
Yeah.
You have to, and it's not about a text, it's not about an email. They want to hear a voice, especially if you get in, you know, over the age of 50.
Steve Capon just joined us on Facebook Live, and I remember a story he shared with us at the sales meeting one day, and he's on here. So Steve, if you can type it in, if I get the number incorrect, he had a seller call him and said, "You're the 26th realtor I've called today, and you're the first person that answered your phone. I have a home. Will you come list it?"
Yeah.
And
many times.
yeah, we see 26 though. And so I've sat here with realtors. I see them in the office. I see them out and about, and they get an unknown number on their phone, so they don't answer it.
Oh, no, that's the best number to answer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Get your little sales hat and you become an ambassador for St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
Walk and talk. You just pick up the phone and walk around, and you know, people see you talking on the phone. They assume you're talking about business, and you are.
Yeah. I always like if it's what if it's a salesperson? Well, great. I usually try to sell them. Hey, well, where do you live? Own your home. You can always turn the conversation around. So I love that. So you know, that's actually how I got into real estate. I called 7 realtors in one day and left messages about houses they had listed for sale, wanting more information, and not one of them called me back. And I was like, well, dang, all I have to do is answer my phone and I can be successful.
True.
Right?
It is true.
Very true.
So what would be the key that you would say, what would be one of your biggest successes that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, can I answer?
You can answer, and I'll give you my point of view.
I think the most exciting one for us is when we sold Hulk Hogan's house up in Clearwater for $6.8 million.
And he was there.
And he was there. And it was really hard negotiate. We were representing the buyer, And it was really probably the most challenging of negotiations because you have to be so considerate of these high-powered people. And the agent that he had on the other side was just lovely. I mean, total professional on that side
We
too.
can mention who it is.
Oh, well, it was Martha
Martha Thorne.
up in
Very
Clearwater.
nice to work with.
We love Martha. And she runs a super big team too. But you know, that was, you know, probably one of my personal favorite transactions.
And you know, that was a lesson we have learned all along, is to get out of the transactions way. To get that one, it came down to the seller and the buyer wanted to speak to each other personally.
Without us.
Without us. They all turned to us and said, all right, if we go into this room and talk and discuss? We said, perfectly fine. They walked out, they told us what to write up, we wrote it up, and the deal was done.
Mm-hmm.
So why get in the way?
You know, I love that. And have you guys read Jack Cotton's book about selling luxury real estate?
No, but I will now. If you said it, I will do it, Rachel. I'm writing it
I
down.
just remember going to Lori Moore's Certified Luxury Home Marketing Specialist.
I did go to that class.
We did.
Yes. And I remember maybe it was in KW Luxury International, maybe it was in her designation class, but Jack Cotton came up, and so I started following him several years ago. But he talks about different levels of net wealth, and one of them, I can't remember, it might be super or whatever rank that is above it. Is Uber, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they are the negotiators, and they don't want somebody to try to out negotiate them.
And
And it's very important that realtors understand that, because sometimes we think, especially like for realtors in the level that you're in, like it's important that some of us think that our value might be in our negotiation skills. But in that scenario, your value is understanding the customer's needs and taking that back.
Oh, and that is the hardest thing for realtors to do, is to get out of the way of their self and their own ego and let the transaction work out. I would really like to say is sometimes we need to check our ego at the door, and just because these high-powered people, man and female, you know, they want to take over the transaction. They want you to do all the other stuff, what they consider the minor stuff, like their admins would do. And when you step back and do that and let them feel like they're in charge, they can make it happen more so than you could, because otherwise you're just fighting it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was your biggest success, and I love what you learned from that. And so it was a success because of the high-powered buyer and seller that you were working with. It made it a success because you took it all the way to fruition. And you learned to not stand in the way of the transaction. Anything else from that experience?
Yeah, well
that was my favorite. Marian's got a different favorite.
I have a favorite when we sold a piece of land that was $4 million. And our buyer came to us and called me, because Marian,
this is raw land.
We have been working with them off and on since we've been in business. He goes, I keep looking at this parcel of land. I want it. I want you to find out how I can get it and how much. I did everything I could do to go straight to the actual owners, but they were divorcing. So nobody would talk to anybody. So I just started to call around the neighbors that they knew it way. It came down to it that someone said, well, you need to call another agent that might have a direct in. Now, did I want to? No. But is that the easiest way to get the job done and please your customer? Yes. So that's another example. Don't get in your own way. You don't have to have both sides of the deal. You just got to get your customer what they want and what they've asked you to do.
Right.
Actually, I think it's so much better if you're not doing both sides of the deal.
I agree.
Because then there's transparency, and both the buyer and the seller feel like they have representation. We do a lot of divorce listings, and even in the divorce listings, sometimes Marian and I will separate, and I'll take the husband or the wife, and she'll take the other party. So both of them feel like their side is being heard.
Yeah, they just need a voice. They need to know that they are valued.
Mm-hmm.
I had the pleasure of doing a divorce situation with you guys.
They're not fun.
You remember which one I'm referring
No.
No, which one?
You'll come to you in a minute.
Okay.
We've done a lot. You know, we actually even have a book. There's a little book that we did about that we give to divorcing people when they come to us about what their expectations should be from the realtor and, you know, from the attorney and how to help them work through the process. And usually it works out good for all parties.
And just to clarify, I wasn't an agent on the other side. I was the broker on your side.
Oh my God, I know which one it was.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That was
the tough
okay.
one.
That was the most interesting deal I've ever experienced in my life. You know what I'm saying? I could write a whole book on that one.
One day we are going to write a book. We have a lot of good stories. Okay, next question.
Well, the next question would be, what has been one of your biggest challenges?
What'd she say?
Our biggest challenges.
Yeah, what's one of the biggest challenges that you
Time
faced?
frame? During this time?
17 years.
Oh, in 17 years?
I can't think of, to me, when I think of a challenge, it's really keeping yourself motivated, you know? But I think for us, my biggest challenge was when I went through cancer and had to step out of the business for 4 months.
That was definitely the biggest challenge.
Because it was hard for me to let go, pry my fingers off the business, and completely trust my business partner, who did a fabulous job. I came back to a thriving business. She never made me feel guilty for not.
Well, I also didn't see her for 4 months.
So, you know, I would say that was my biggest challenge, because I look at this as a child. Our business is one of my children I've invested my life into. So yeah, that was my biggest challenge.
That's hard. That's hard. I mean, that one really hits to the core, because I sit here and I watch you two, and you have such a strong bond. Like you've even explained it to me. Like it's like sisters. Like you always have one another's back. And so, Marian, I remember seeing you at the dry cleaners when I first, like when you found out and I heard, and I walked up to your car and just said, hey, just, you know, thinking about you. And so just to watch you two and how, you know, we all have had challenging times with the economy. You guys went through the Great Recession together.
So much fun.
We're in COVID now, but you know, that health scare was your biggest challenge, and the way that you guys the way that you succeeded through that is also a great.
Rhonda.
It was the summer, and it was hard. And I do think about, you know, those tough times I'm so glad that I'm a team. I knew she would come back. She told me about it, and we cried over it one time. And then we said,
for 3 minutes, I said, enough, we're moving on. We got work to do.
Put your big girl panties on and let's get going. You got to keep this business. Now that's the Virgo in us. I was in complete denial that she was gonna come back. And so we just carried on like we, you know, and then the market started falling too. And you know, one thing I relate to the market falling and then the market falling right now, or this pandemic that we're in right now. One thing remains consistent between the two things in my mind is our confidence in the market. I think I've had so many conversations over the last 6 weeks of people just saying, well, what do you think is going to happen? What are you going to do? And I said, it's going to come back. Trust me. People still have to move. The careers are going to change. You know, people want to, we're finding a lot of repositioning right now. Maybe if you're in a condo, you think, oh, I'm never going to get caught in this box again. I'm moving to a house. Or maybe they're thinking, oh, I want to go to a different area of town. I want to be closer to the family. I have been amazed at how much we've been showing the last couple of weeks. And I mean, I'm talking about my high-end properties too. The $5 million property, you know, the $3 million property.
The key there is, Rachel, we kept our properties on the market. So they were getting all the search engines. And
yeah, that's a great.
Can I talk about advertising? Can I talk
But
about
I was
advertising
gonna
right now?
say, so many people pulled their listings off the market.
So many.
Dropped the inventory.
Oh.
That was
And I talked to you about it, Rachel. I had to fight to keep everybody on board because you're basically, why are you taking yourself off the market when the only thing people can
There's
do
no
is what we're doing
competition.
right now?
Yeah.
Just be online.
It's like Warren Buffett. When does Warren Buffett buy? When things are bad, he goes in and buys. It's why would you take your house off the market when everybody else is? Because you want to be out there. And you know, it's the confidence too that they feel. And when I say, look at the interest rates right now, look at the competition right now. There's so many opportunities for us. And yes, we have masks, we have gloves, we have hand wipes. You know, it's like it's so much stuff to keep up with now when I go into a house. But I think people should just stay consistent in what you're doing. And as far as your advertising goes, I have doubled our advertising. I'm using the Keller Williams command that somebody taught me around here. And
Building Accelerator on Facebook.
yeah, somebody said to me from KW, and they go, well, what are your results? And I said, I have no idea what the results are. I'm not looking for the results. I am looking to keep my name front and center with people right now.
You do look at the results because you've told me how many views you have.
Oh, I do.
You do.
I do. But it doesn't affect if I'm going to keep advertising or not.
Right.
There's a lot of window shopping going right now. And views. There's a lot of views going on right now.
That was a conversation Rhonda and I had when this first started happening. You know, that first 7 to 10 days, we were all in shock.
Mm-hmm.
And we all went through losing contracts that were still in that inspection period, you know. But luckily, we've been through this and we know it's going to come back because I believe to a certain degree, the economy has a false echo going on. It's not like back in 2009.
Yeah, tell us what you mean by false echo. Let's get
a false echo, because I've been doing a lot of research and having to talk to buyers and sellers on big properties for hours. And I've done a lot of research. The false echo is back in the last Great Recession, and that's what they call it. The market went down like 40%. But that was because real estate was at fault. It was leading the market fault from short sales and foreclosures. That's what caused that. This is a false echo toward the economy and real estate because we have a virus that's affecting us. And that once we get that under control, we will get right back up to speed. And it won't be a 5-year period to get back up to speed. It will be by the end of the year, probably.
Yeah.
So that should give everybody great hope.
Yeah, and something else I always say to people is that, you know, there's never been a time in history that home sales were zero. People are always buying a home and selling a home, and it's just about making sure you're in front of those people.
And that's what Rhonda's good at.
Yeah.
Well, it's just talking, you know, people want to talk. And I've talked to people I haven't talked to in years during this 6 weeks. I mean, years, like 10 years. And they're texting and calling, and we're communicating and stuff. And it's what you've always told me to do, Rachel, was to reach back to all those people. I'm doing it now.
So, and is it because they're seeing you? Because you guys started doing some videos, and
that did help. That helped a lot.
Yeah.
Our crazy videos were just, you know, I think you just have to, as Rhonda said, and this business is a sales marketing business. Everything has to be put in a proper light, and that proper light has to have a very positive spin.
Right.
We are selling people's largest investment. We're asset specialists. I mean, they should look at us as true professionals. So,
I love that. Asset specialist. That's a great way to put it. So I know what
you can tell she's been taking that class. She's got all the big words today.
No, I've been doing a lot of research on the market and where it's going. So that's been my big.
Okay. Well, I love watching you guys over the years utilize your strengths to push yourselves forward. Why don't you share with our audience, what do you feel, well, Rhonda, what do you feel like Marian's strength is?
Without a doubt, it's numbers.
And so
Marian and I decided this years ago, she loves everything to do with numbers. and she will analyze a piece of property to death, and she will sit there and she'll go over all those numbers. And I'll write down, we've got a listing appointment, I'll write down on my little piece of paper what I think we should list the house at. She goes through all these numbers in the black and white reams of paper. We still take reams of paper when we go to a listing appointment. And usually within 10,000, my number's the same as hers without any numbers.
Because she comes from
I come from the emotional
the
side.
emotional showing side.
Yeah.
You know.
So we get to the same place, but we have the advantage of a realtor really only thinks on one side. It's either the number side or the emotional side. One person does. With us, you get the number side and the emotional side. And we're both going to try to, when it comes time for a change, we're both going to try to pitch our way. It's not one way is better than the other, but you have a choice. You know, how many realtors do you hire that they can give you two options and both are right? It's just going to get you to your goal a different direction. And then sometimes she's right.
It goes back to what we talk about a lot. We actually had a guest speaker on Rudy and Red's show last week about behavioral styles.
I saw that.
Yeah. So, Rhonda, you're probably an IS, and
Right there.
Marian, you're a DI.
Huh?
I
was sitting in the passengers in the jump seat. Rhonda is the driver of the
I'm
car.
the ID.
Oh my gosh.
I always drive us around. And she sits over there and tells me how to do it.
Well, both of you have a lot of I behavioral styles.
Oh yeah.
And then you also have some counterbalance on the other sides. So Marian, what would you say Rhonda's biggest strength is?
Rhonda's biggest strength, she has two, to be quite honest. She can show a house like nobody can show a house.
What does that?
That means, Rhonda, that's the reason why I love showing all of our properties. And I have learned everything I know about showing a house on an appointment to either our buyer or showing it to another agent's buyer. She just walks in full of confidence, very, always presents herself like a regal Southern belle.
Well, we do believe in dress for success.
So, but she walks in, she doesn't take up their space. She greets them nicely. She always asks the other agent if they're there, do you want me to show or do you want me to walk them through? What do you expect of me in this showing? She gives that other agent, makes them feel comfortable, number one.
Courtesy.
Then from there.
Courtesy.
Yes.
But you know what? That took years to learn, because sometimes, when we were younger, you get full of yourself with successes. And, after a while, you become at that confidence level where you learn to read the other agent too. And if she is still at that stage of her career where she knows everything, then you need to let her present.
You have to kind of back down. But Rhonda is very patient. She's very patient.
Hold on. Something I caught. So you do realize you said her.
Well, most of the time it is a her. If you look at the numbers, I believe that if you took the number of agents and looked at the stats on the female versus male, we are predominantly a female industry right now. But I want to tell you, when I first started selling real estate, we were predominantly a male industry. So I've been full circle on there. And yeah, even if there is a guy there is usually a girl with him too, a female with him too.
Okay, this is one of her little tricks she doesn't even know she does at a showing. When showing people, she will talk about something that she finds is the most important feature of the house, and she'll bring her hand and touch her heart. And
body language.
It's like body language. She just brings her hand and she goes like this. Isn't this just the greatest kitchen you've ever seen? To let them feel the emotion of things. She brings emotions into the selling process.
And it's not like she's doing it intentionally.
I am not doing it.
No, she doesn't know she does it, but she does it all the time. You touch her heart.
That's cute. Also, I bet you learned that technique from how people have treated you, what you like and what you disliked as well.
And she's good about shutting up when it comes. She presents it, and then I actually see her take 3 or 4 steps back
Yeah, that is one thing I try to teach the new agents on our team. Don't get in someone's space. You can actually offend, especially in the luxury market, you can actually offend that buyer if you get too close to them, because they're busy looking around and they don't want you to talk all the time. They don't want you standing right on top of them. They want to know you're accessible, but not really on top of them. So sometimes the further you can stand back and just let them know that you're there, or share if there's something that's not obvious, but you don't have to say this is a kitchen. It's obvious this is a kitchen.
But you can say, isn't this the best coffee bar you've ever seen? I love coffee in the morning.
We've had huge conversations about coffee. I love coffee.
Yeah. Simple things like that bring lifestyle to it.
And we still have about 10 more minutes, but
Okay.
As we have that time, I want to go ahead and ask our audience, please type in some questions that you would like to ask Marian and Rhonda. If you would like to come on screen with us, you can actually raise your hand. Carol, you actually have your hand raised. If you'd like me to bring you in, I would love to bring you in. If not, just lower your hand. But I have one more question for you two lovely ladies before we get to the audience question and feedback. Let's see. If there was one tip that you'd like to share with our audience to help them pivot through this transitional time, through a pandemic, through this crazy world that we're living in right now, what would that tip be?
I actually talked about that.
We talked a little bit about that. I think what this has taught me to do during this time is to actually gain the value of being in the Keller Williams family, and to share that with other agents that I think are very good in the business, and that I've reached out to a couple agents asking if they're happy where they are.
Because you're finding value in what we're supplying.
And what you're offering.
Yeah, because I find value. That's made me go, why am I keeping this all to myself? Why don't I share this?
Interesting.
Well, the other thing we talked about, and it goes hand in hand with what Marian's saying too, is never in my life have I had so much free time. And I really focused on education. We both have. I've got
110 hours.
She has. I've got all my continuing education done for the next 2 years. So I'm like, it's not due until March of 21. But I think there's never been so many online opportunities, classes, videos, Zooms. I think this is a fabulous learning opportunity to better yourself. And if you're even thinking about getting your real estate license, what better time to take the class to see, maybe I do want to do this. Having your taking the real estate class, I think is beneficial to everybody to just understand how the process works and why you need representation, whether you're a buyer or a seller, why you need representation. I cannot tell you the number of times we have buyers come back to us, oh, I don't need a buyer's agent, I'm going to represent myself. They don't have a clue about what's going on.
And the
I
market
could save them so much money if they would just let us help them. And I think those classes help us to realize our value, and especially all the KW things that you guys are offering.
Okay.
So education
And then sharing the value. Would those be the two tips that you guys would have? Well, I'm looking for questions on here. It's funny that, typically when we ask for feedback and questions from our panelists, we rarely get many. I don't know why people just don't like to type them in here, but I'm happy to have them type them in here. Any last thoughts that you guys would like to share before we wrap up?
Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for being accessible during this time, and not just during this time. I have to brag on Rachel a little bit. We try to think we know just about everything in the real estate market, but I tell you what, there are many times that I will text Rachel and I'll go, help, I just need another opinion. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Am I going crazy?
So what's going on here? Rachel as a broker is got your back. She is there. She is responsive, and I take her word to the bank. And if she doesn't know, she knows who to refer me to get the answer.
The other thing I will say, that I have found is, oh God, my train of thought is looking at so many different things.
We're getting old.
We're getting old. But the fact that doing what Rhonda and I have done for so long, and it feels like so long, going back to your challenge question, probably staying interested in the business is one of the things. And I think being in this office and building this is a pitch for the luxury homes division, because anyone out there, it is so worth it. I am seeing the growth, and that's the beauty of when Rachel had us come back to KW, was to really strive on the luxury business. We have a strong luxury division, and I can't say enough about it.
We have the nicest office we've ever had.
Thank you.
17 years. Oh my God, I wish you guys could see it. We have double windows. We have a wall of all of our ads. We have an orchid over here. I mean, I tell Marian, she said, when we were asked to do the class, I said, oh, let's go to the office. It's pretty, it's clean, it's nice, it's quiet.
I love that.
Our office, if you're thinking about joining a luxury division in a company, you've got to come check out the offices up here. Rachel did a phenomenal job in negotiating the space and laying out the space, and it's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
I promise I had a whole team behind me. There's no way to do all this.
Really.
Wait,
can I do a shout out to Michael?
Yes.
Michael, I know you're out there listening. I just want to say, wow. Every morning, I can't get over your knowledge. And you let us all know your age. I can't believe. I mean, you seem like you should be like 45 to 55 with this wealth of knowledge, the wisdom.
He says he's 400 years old.
Your parents, wow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I appreciate that very much. And it's just it's a testament to what you're saying of people have fed into us. And so we, of course, want to feed into others. And that's the main purpose of starting the morning the way that we do. And Rhonda, your participation every morning like clockwork at 8:30, 8:31, she's letting you know she's here.
Keeping you on time.
No, we love it. And, I know that the last time that we did this, we did an agent spotlight with the two of you in the office. And I just love that this is recorded, that this is live on Facebook, that other people can hear from you and are going to be able to go back to this time and time again. So thank you both for making this work out.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Hey, before I let you go, I know there's a lot of people on here that have this question. They're just not asking it. If you wanted to step into the luxury market, what's one piece of advice, what's one thing you would recommend to them to step into the luxury market?
Can I answer that?
Mm-hmm.
Can I answer that question?
Please.
Number one, it's all about appearance. You have got to dress for success every single day, no matter where you are. You better have on your nice clothes, your high heels, and you better know how to talk the talk and walk the walk.
Okay.
That would be my one piece of advice if you're going to break into luxury, because people like to work with like people. I'm not saying you have to be worth $1 million. You just have to give the appearance of it. Okay. And it doesn't even have to be designer clothes. It just has to be clean, bright, pretty, flattering. Your hair has to be done, your makeup has to be done, if you're a girl, your fingernails. I guess guys could do their nails too.
So nice.
They're all closed right now.
Not my lady. My lady's open.
But I would say in the luxury market, if you want to gain the respect of the buyers and the sellers and the other agents, it is dress for success.
I love that. Thank you. Marian,
you have anything, Marian?
I would say, but I feel very fortunate. I grew up here, and I've been involved with a lot of different charity organizations throughout my adult life before getting back into real estate. So I would say, get involved. Find a passion, an organization you love, get involved, get on the board. Give time.
Give your time back.
Give your time back. When people see you giving time, they will realize that there's more to you than just, I want your business. So you've got to, you have to give to receive.
I love that. Love that. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing so many great tips and information and your history, your partnership. I know that the audience got some great stuff that they can implement into their business, and I wish you all the success in the world, and you're doing a great job out there, and keep it up. Thank you for being in business with me.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Ta-ta.